Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Our Wrestling Podcast. Join Jess, Dave, Cuz, and Craig as they discuss a variety of topics in the world of professional wrestling, such as retro pay-per-view reviews, special events, legend legacies, and more. Our Wrestling Podcast is available on all major platforms, including YouTube, Soundcloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can stay notified as we release a new episode every Tuesday. Our Wrestling Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Our Wrestling Podcast. This is Cuz here. I am here today to introduce the episode that we have for you. Here at Our Wrestling Podcast, we hope everyone enjoyed the Christmas holiday and that you are getting ready for the New Year's to celebrate however you're going to celebrate it. But first, I would like to say on behalf of Our Wrestling Podcast, because I'm sure my counterparts will agree, that we were all saddened and shocked to hear about the passing of John Huber, a.k.a. Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, who passed away this Friday, December 26th, the day after Christmas. Very shocking, and a lot really just sad and in disbelief when we heard the news. I think we all were, and it's a great loss in the world of professional wrestling. He is one of the best big men out there, one of the greatest performers in the ring, and he will definitely be missed by everyone in the world of wrestling. So we here at Our Wrestling Podcast would like to extend our best wishes and condolences to his wife, Amanda, and his two sons, Brody and Nolan. Brody, Luke, John, rest in peace. And it's Tuesday. You know what that means. On to today's episode. Just to give you context really quick on this, we all took a break last week. We didn't record a new episode, but we do have episodes in the can. And this episode today, we actually recorded on January 17th of this year. Jess, Dave, and I sat in person together recording this episode. And this was actually before Craig had started to join the podcast regularly. And it was we had recorded after doing one of our other episodes. And I wanted to do a random spitball topic. And the topic that I picked, Booker T and Stone Cold in the supermarket. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Our Wrestling Podcast. So, without further ado, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. And today's topic, Booker T and Stone Cold Steve Austin at the supermarket.
Those who claim to be your enemy, voluntarily wear a mask to protect you and others. Acquiescing to your own enslavement, protect the freedom of father choice. Doesn't this don't you don't like you cowards to your dark grave? This world is wrong to be.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is Our Wrestling Podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Or is it?
And Cuz.
What's up, bro?
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, whatever the fuck Cuz wants to talk about. As always, you can reach us via Instagram at O.W.P 2019, SoundCloud at Our Wrestling Podcast, YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, or just do the easy thing, download WrestlePost. It's an app at no charge to you, and join us along with other great podcasts of the day.
You just put a lot of pressure on him.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Cuz, what's up,
I
buddy?
was going to say, yep, and it was good.
Oh, my God. So here's the deal. We always talk about really structured topics. A lot of times, especially lately, Jess has been really good about getting me a structured board, and I can kind of wing it from there and do it how I want, pick it apart, take something in front or back, or take it verbatim, right? And it goes to work. And Jess has always been really good about working that in tandem. And Cuz is like, yeah, it was good. But every time we get off the air, Cuz is like a fucking talk.
Yeah,
machine.
he's like a firecracker. He's like full of shit. I mean, not full of shit, but I don't mean full of shit. That was a wrong phrase. I mean, like full of opinions. That's what I meant.
Yeah, opinions are like assholes.
Oh, everyone has
does
them.
have one.
Oh no,
And they're full of shit.
never heard that one before. What about
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna just.
Well, apparently we've never heard you either, Cuz. What the fuck?
Yes, you have. You just don't want me to
Off
talk.
the air.
Well, what if I
I'm
just
giving you
give
the
a
platform? This is your podcast right now, man.
Well, what if we start with a random topic, something that's good, see where we can go with this.
And this is how he starts off the air. Let's start with a random topic. What is your random topic? Cuz?
Booker T and Stone Cold in the supermarket.
I just watched that the other day.
Well, let's talk about
Like
it.
legitimately, like 2 days ago, I just watched that for no reason.
That's a fucking good topic, though.
I
It could be a
remember
quick, short podcast with it.
a lot of milk and carnage. That's what I remember.
The build-up,
was-
though.
I remember my initial thought when I first saw that live was that, and I'm not, people could say, oh, bullshit, you're just saying it now because it's cool to say. But I remember when I saw it, I thought, and I'm not saying I don't like the segment because I did like it. I thought the Attitude Era is over. That's what I thought. Because it was very produced and
Yes. Yeah.
This is a jumping the shark.
not
moment.
that like Mae Young giving birth to a hand wasn't produced or overproduced or whatever.
Those are
I'm not
horrible,
saying
too.
that. I'm just saying
Those are
but
horrible.
we've always talked before about how the main event tier is a little bit serious and it kind of holds the value of titles and main events and feuds and whatever. And then you get the bottom tier of choppy PP and the fucking hand being delivered or whatever.
And by the way, if that top tier is hot, if it's white hot,
Yes.
nothing fucking.
And at this
matters anymore,
time, this
really.
was, after WCW was bought, obviously. And so Vince was all by himself. And this was, to me, where the main event, the top tier, like I said, started pulling in the choppy PPs and the whatever with it. And I'm not saying this segment was that bad because I really do enjoy it. And I watched it a couple days ago and I laughed a lot. But that's the thing is like Austin was serious.
Yeah.
And even though he made you laugh when you put an S in front of your name and in front of the Hitman, and that's my exact opinion of the Hitman, the shit man, that made you laugh, but he was serious when he did it. This skit was just silly. And it was cool and it was funny and it worked. And I remember when I watched it live, like I said, I thought it was like, oh, fuck. Like, so we're going to a different era, right? The whole Attitude Era is done. This is what we're stuck with now. And I liked it, but at the same time, I thought, it's not as good as some of it was, to me, it was kind of a weird takeoff of like the bar scenes, with APA and all that stuff. And which they were very short and cool and funny. And then they ended, but that was like a mid-card skit, This was Austin and Booker. They were the top of the card and they did this cool thing. It was funny, but I remember thinking in my mind, end of an era.
Who is that guy? This is a shopper. Who the hell are you? Oh no! Oh! He can't hear you. Austin! Austin attacking Booker T! Somebody better call the police!
That's what I thought.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did that horrible one too with Cesaro and Sheamus, right? They were having their little beef, that horribly produced bar scene. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could totally tell it was like
Yes.
backstage or something stupid.
But the Austin and Booker T was very funny. Like
it was still,
Booker T did. Well, I really liked Booker T, and of course, I always loved him in WCW. But the thing is why I knew he translated well to WWE television was he would just lay there And during the awkward moments where Austin would be walking around trying to awkwardly find something he was gonna like make a pun about, he'd be like, "Oh no, oh stop, no more, no."
Yeah.
And it was just so good, like it was so funny.
Why?
And like that, yeah. Oh god, like it was getting rolling, and you rolled him on the checkout
when he fell off the check. Yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Like it's.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
But that was all Booker T, right? Like he had to kind of think about how do I make this work in my character. So yeah, Booker T was really good in this, and it really showed me that he belonged there. That he, even though he was the top guy in WCW during its dying years, it's easy to say, oh, Booker T was world champion, but he was world champion during their dying years. Can he really hang with the pros?
We still have Booker T listed as a top 5, champion for WCW.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, yes, but I would say like via mercy rule. Like honestly,
well,
like
fuck you.
Well, I mean, honestly, like he was champion like 2000. Nobody cares. Like 2000 was so bad. Like, I mean, it didn't matter. I gave him props because he did. We did talk about he did find a way to translate to the WWF, and this was one of the reasons why.
One of the few.
Yeah.
One of the few.
This is one of the reasons why. The supermarket scene is, a lot of people remember it, but I just remember it as being like, okay, we're kind of entering this odd PG era, like this odd, it's the attitude, the war's over, Vince won, this is what we got. And it was fine. And if you remember, because as like they would cut back and forth, like Vince and Flair, they owned half of the company, right?
Yeah, that was the split. That was the whole thing.
They kept cutting back and forth to Flair and Vince watching this live from a box up in the arena, like a luxury box. Yeah. And like, I remember Flair's improv was so cringeworthy and so bad.
Yeah, Flair's was.
Like, he was like just shaking his head going, yeah, it is really good. Like it was really bad. It was like super bad improv. And like, I just remember going,
that was a really good impression of Flair going, this is really good.
If you go and watch it, you will see that I am correct. And
no, I'm saying it was a really good impression. Yeah. It really was. I'm like, that sounded like Flair to me. Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was just like there was no more competition left. And this was a good segment. It really was. But at the same time, I realized this was the decline, as I should say. As we talked about in past episodes, this was the decline of this era.
Yo, you done? The beach. There's some more beach for you.
Interesting.
Not to bring this topic down on a bad note, but that's just the way I thought.
That's what I
even though like there was like funny stuff that they did, like it was really funny stuff. Austin was really funny, and when Austin first, it started out with Booker T shopping in the store, and he kept seeing people walk by that looked like Austin, so he'd run and jump them from behind, some bald guy, and then he would turn him over and be like, "What? Oh, that's not Austin!" Like it was so stupid and so overproduced. And then like, and then Austin Booker T was looking at something, and then you see Austin behind him, and he cracked a beer open, so you heard a, and then Booker T turned around slow, like, I'm gonna get my fucking ass whipped, and then Austin just beat the shit out of him. Like, it was really fun. That was really funny, but like, it was just kind of like,
I loved it. Like, I loved it when Booker was walking through the cereal aisle, and he starts grabbing one, and he's just like talking to himself, like, yeah, so good. Like he starts opening it up and starts eating it.
Yeah, and he just opened one up and started eating it.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Yeah, like I mean, it made
if you're gonna spend thousands of dollars wrecking a supermarket,
you might as well eat something.
But yeah, like individual characters like Booker made me laugh individually because he was trying to make this work, right? And Austin made me laugh because he usually does anyway.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like, I don't know, like for mid card and lower mid card when they used to do this during the Attitude Era, if they made you laugh, that's fine because it's lower mid card or mid card. But the top tier, but this was the top guys. Austin and Booker were the top guys here at the time. And they did a funny comedy skit advancing their feud. It's hard for me to believe that these guys hate each other when they're just doing funny shit together in a supermarket. So I just thought, I know a lot of people remember.
there's another
Again,
side
Cuz,
it, too,
credit
in
to
that
Cuz, like he brought,
and you know the other part of it is they had funny skits with it, but it was a skit where you can beat the shit out of your boss, and that was great. But now you're just beating the shit out of an opponent in a supermarket. You're like, okay, well, I guess that's all right. But when you had the crazy scene with Vince in the hospital, I'll take it from here, nurse.
and that was super
that shit
corny.
was fucking gold.
That was super corny.
Yeah.
However,
It was
Oh
so
my god, but it
over.
was still
but Austin
So
viciously
fucking funny.
like beats his broken leg and like shoves an enema
Oh,
up
there you
his
go.
ass and like hits him with a
Hits him with
bedpan.
the bedpan.
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
was, and it, but it was
talk
So
about
short.
that was just
There you
him. That was just him
Nice
beating
segue.
the shit
But
out
it
of
was
his boss.
short.
We-
It was
we-
60. It was 60 seconds.
Yeah.
This supermarket
and
scene.
it was also it was Vince. It was like he's gonna beat the shit out of him. It's for fun, and you move on to the segment.
Well, yeah, and then they do other shit out in the ring. But like this segment with Booker T
Exactly.
was like 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Like it was just like this long.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was.
That's why
weird.
I want to make it clear. Like Stone Cold did do crazy shit on top, but he did it with Vince, and that's why it got over because he's just the boss that everybody wants to beat up.
Yeah,
and it works
You
so
know.
well.
Just so people understand that we know that Stone Cold did crazy funny shit, and this is different because it's with the other top tier talent that you're supposed to be on top with, and that's not supposed to be funny. Like he should be doing more shit with Vince, and then Booker's the guy that Vince is putting up against him. That would have worked, you know. Even though it's kind of
Like
I
the
think Vince
Hogan
was
and
trying to get on
Macho Man
TV at
storytelling.
that point, right?
Oh, it's been fun shopping with you, Book. There you go. You gotta see how much it costs.
Oh, no.
Not worth a whole lot right now. Not in that condition.
Price check, jackass.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Wasn't Vince like, I don't want to be on TV anymore, I'm done with it, kind of thing? At that moment with Booker.
maybe around that time, but not so much. I mean, he was up in the booth.
Yeah, exactly. He was. I think because Vince hated. It's funny. As good as it was, Vince was not a fan of being on television. Not in the storyline anyway. Not as a character. He was okay announcing back then. He even got off that too.
Well,
eventually. You can tell he wasn't comfortable.
It's funny because he wasn't comfortable, but yet Vince always imagined of being an athlete and a star. Vince always wanted to be that. Then when he got to
$1 Million
be
Man.
it, he was just like, yeah. Vince, I think, always
yeah,
liked
the
creating
$1 Million
better.
Man is him.
Yeah, Vince liked creating better, I think.
Yeah. Too bad he doesn't like it anymore.
I mean, he was good. at it.
XFL's coming.
The little
Yeah, we'll see
nuances,
that
though.
shit show.
The little one-liners in that whole segment. The price check on
Yeah,
a
no,
jackass.
they did really funny stuff. Like they did really funny stuff. Like,
But I agree with
just
you.
the milk and
perspective
all that
you're
stuff.
talking
Like it
about,
was
too.
really good. It was really good.
I said I do agree with what you were saying though about everything else too, though. But still, fucking funny segment. Just a random one to pick out as far as
Yeah, it was good.
Yard. And then toughest dog was Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I tell you, we did some good stuff, and a lot of it was we call it character building, and that was us just going out there and having fun and giving the crowd something totally different on the show, other than
what to discuss. But I'd rather have that
there you go.
where it's not like how like how you guys said at the beginning, like not where it's everyone just going, yeah, I agree. Yeah. At least we had different perspectives on that segment. I never, heard your side of that, of what you thought about that.
Don't
segment,
defend
so.
your goddamn topic. Just
No,
stick
it's a great
by it.
topic,
Jesus Christ.
Jesus,
better than
Christ.
Hogan and Macho
Edit that
Man.
out. As
God
always, you can
damn.
reach us via Instagram at O.W.P 2019, SoundCloud at Our Wrestling Podcast, YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, or just do
Brother.
the easy thing. Download WrestlePost at no charge to you, and join us along with other great
Penis,
podcasts
brother.
of the day. This is Dave and Jess. Cuz shut the
Brother,
fuck up.
brother.
Have a good one at the O.W.P.
Those who claim to be your enemy voluntarily wear a mask to protect you and others. Acquiescing to your own enslavement. For death of freedom, unfounded choice. Doesn't this don't mean don't like you cowards to indoctrinate this world is wrong to be.
Just stay the fuck away.
yourself suppressed and your own cognitive function eliminated. Conversation, our chips were growing and awakening because of your own weak fragility. Such a man in this world only swallow you whole and victimize you. To those who wish to defeat and all that's true. And at the end of the day, it's them versus me and you.